How can you adequately describe someone like Colonel Muammar Gaddafi? During a period that spanned 6 decades, the Libyan leader paraded on the world stage with a style so unique and unpredictable that the words maverick or eccentric scarcely did him justice. Gaddafi developed his own political philosophy, writing a book so influential that it eclipsed Plato's and Karl Marx's own theories. He spent his life reinventing himself and his revolution. That one Arab commentator called him the Picasso of Middle East politics. Despite how the Western media painted him, Gaddafi chalked numerous significant successes until he was murdered in the year 2011, after over 4 decades in power since he overthrew King Idris I in 1951. All Libyan banks were state-owned. The Libyan Central Bank was one of the few banks that was not controlled by international bankers. This meant there was no any interest rates on loans since all the Libyan banks were state-owned. As if that is not enough, a portion of Libyan oil sale was credited directly to the bank accounts of all Libyan citizens, and the price of petrol for Libyans was as low as 0.14 USD per litre. Gaddafi also had plans for the creation of the African Investment Bank in Sirte, Libya, and the African Monetary Fund to be based in Cameroon. This would replace the IMF and undermine Western economic hegemony in Africa. Number 9. He traveled with a huge bulletproof tent. Gaddafi was reported to have exhibited some symptoms of obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD if you like. Due to this, he had huge issues moving to the highest floors of buildings. He would usually stop at the 35th step. This, together with the fact that he was born and raised in a nomadic family, were the reasons that he lived in a huge bulletproof tent. He took his tent everywhere, even in the States, and used it for meetings, photo shoots, and everything else he might have needed. He always traveled with his chefs, bodyguards, state officials, and all the furniture that he needed. He even once camped his tent on Donald Trump's property and gave himself what you would only refer to as a homely feeling. 5,000 USD for newborn babies. When a Libyan woman gave birth, she was given 5,000 US dollars for herself and her child. This was to ensure a steady growth of the Libyan population, which was standing at 6.5 million at the time of his death. Number 6. Hired Beyoncé for a private party. According to a document obtained by WikiLeaks, several pop stars, including Mariah Carey, Beyoncé, Usher, and Lionel Richie, took lucrative gigs performing for Gaddafi and his family in private parties. Beyoncé was reportedly paid $2 million US to perform on a New Year's party, and Mariah Carey was paid $1 million US to sing 4 songs. Number 5. Electricity, education, and homes were free. Gaddafi significantly raised the standard for living for the Libyans. Under his rule, per capita income in the country rose to more than 11,000 US dollars, the 5th highest in Africa. In his Green Book, Gaddafi states that a home is a basic human right, and true to his word, all Libyans had home for free. He even went ahead as to promise that his parents would not get a house until everyone in Libya had one. Gaddafi also ensured education on all levels was free in Libya. Before him, only 25% of Libyans were literate. At the time of his death, the figure stood at 83%. Furthermore, if after graduation a Libyan was unable to get employment, the state would pay the average salary of the profession as if he or she was employed until they got a job. Electricity too was free during Gaddafi's tenure, meaning absolutely no electricity bills. Hospitals and medicine was free of charge. Not only did he improve standards of living, Gaddafi's Libya also boasts one of the best healthcare services in the Middle East and Africa. All hospitals and medicines were free of charge, and any Libyan would be flown out of the country for free if need arose. Libya's oil fortune had allowed him to create a social system in his country where everybody would benefit from their land's riches to enjoy modern infrastructure and top-notch technology in medicine. He ensured free farming startup. Due to the desert surrounding Libya, Gaddafi executed the largest irrigation project in the world. The man-made river was designed so water could be available to all Libyans. The project, solely funded by his government, is described as the eighth wonder of the world. As unbelievable as it may sound, any Libyan who wanted to start a farming career would receive land, a farming house, equipment, seeds and livestock to kickstart their farm, all for free. Introduction of a single African currency. Before his death, Gaddafi had a plan to create a new African Union based on a new African economic system. He had a plan to introduce the gold dinar as backing for African currencies so that Africa could become free from the dollar-dominated Western monetary system. This meant rejecting the dollar as payment for Africa's vast natural resources, especially oil and minerals. As a first step, he offered this lucrative and very beneficial alternative to other Muslim African states, but leaving it open for any other African countries to join. He was the first African leader to invest state funds into the vision of Pan-Africanism. The term United States of Africa was mentioned first by Marcus Garvey in his poem Hail, United States of Africa in 1924. Garvey's idea and formation systems deeply influenced former African leaders and led to the rebirth of the African Union. Gaddafi had gradually embraced Pan-Africanism and developed a United States of Africa agenda like Nkrumah's. In February 2009, upon being elected chairman of the 53-nation African Union in Ethiopia, Gaddafi told the assembled African leaders, and I quote, "I shall continue to insist that our sovereign countries work to achieve the United States of Africa," end of quote. He proposed a single African military force and a single passport for Africans to move freely around the continent. He went ahead and invested state funds into this vision.
Why was Muammar Gaddafi killed? Muammar Gaddafi was murdered because he, along with the other African heads of state, were about to bring into existence Africa's first central bank. They were erecting a central bank in Africa, which was going to do what? Back its money to the resources under the ground in Africa. Now, what would that have done to the global economic order? Remember, the United States dollar isn't backed on any natural resource. The British pound isn't backed on any natural resource. The Canadian dollar, the European Union, their currency isn't backed on any natural resource because Europe doesn't have a lot of natural resources. Africa does. So if they would have been successful in creating a central bank of Africa, coming up with a unitary currency, and then backing that currency to the material wealth under the soil, they would have bankrupted.
Our unalienable right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights were stripped from college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara and from high schoolers at Columbine and from first graders in Newtown. First graders. And from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day. So, all of us need to demand a Congress brave enough to stand up to the gun lobby's lies. All of us need to stand up and protect its citizens. All of us need to demand governors and legislators and businesses do their part to make our communities safer. We need the wide majority of responsible gun owners who grieve with us every time this happens and feel like your views are not being properly represented to join with us to demand something better.
People. Now I made this in, yeah, definitely my own opinion, but at the same time, it's easily seen. If you observe, you can look for yourself and see that something is wrong with the information and the way the world and the news gives out information to people. It's almost as if they just create things out of thin air about people with no proof. But yet still, if you look into court, and if you look into how they deal with criminal cases, there's always got to be proof, right? Usually they have no proof of these people they defame and claim that they're terrorists and all type of stuff, but they'll just destroy these people after defaming them. But when you look back in the past, you realize these people did so much good. And then you look at what these other people have done, and they haven't done nothing but tear their countries apart. So why are you destroying these other people that, you know, is doing their thing in their country, but yet still the government in these countries, these tyrannical countries that try to control the world and the rest of these other countries and defame people like Gaddafi and say, oh, he's this and he's that, like they do many others, like they do even artists like Michael Jackson. Oh, he touched the kids, you know, defame them, then tear them down. This has been a ongoing thing for a long time. This is the way they've been tearing down all leaders or great people, is always to defame them first, destroy their character, and then after you destroy their character, they go in to kill them, you know, either try to get them assassinated or drones. You see all the different ways they used to murder people in other countries that they don't like or they fear or they probably want to control, or these people don't want to give them the control. Then pretty much what they do is try to assassinate them. All right. And they even assassinated their own president at one point, JFK, because he was about to get rid of the Federal Reserve note. And he was about to overturn and get a currency in the US that's backed by gold. Kind of nearly the same thing, right? Nearly, but different country, different, whole different element probably, but kind of the same thing. I think the Federal Reserve is under the threat, and that's where the threat is, and they're the ones that's spreading the conspiracy, the lies. I mean, not conspiracy, but lies. They're the ones that aim to tear down whoever for the reasons why. Yeah, so really, if you look closely and observe all the information, you see that Gaddafi was given his country, his people, free electricity, free school, free housing. When children are born, the mom got, you know, the parents got $5,000 to start out to help them. I mean, which country you know did that? None, not one, except for this country. I don't know of any other that did that or had any type of, you know, so much benefits or things that they were given to their citizens and the people of the country. And if you even do the research and look back, there were videos on YouTube years ago saying Libya was one of the best countries at the point when Gaddafi was served. Now, they labeled him with so much things. I'm not here to justify. I don't know this man. I'm not here to say he's a perfect angel. I'm not here to say, you know, he's just the greatest ever. I don't know him personally. I don't know. But from my observation and research, I realized that this man was doing a lot of great work for his people. So whatever wrongs they found about him, I still can't find the proof. Where is the proof? Show me that he did whatever they're claiming to defame him about, you know. But saying what I'm finding is proof that he had his economy on a certain level where, yo, the people were not suffering for a long time. They were one of the best countries, the most civil and equal countries to live in. It was actually highly regarded, how educated and smart, and the citizens were happy. I mean, something changed. I think it's an instigation. Personally, I think it's instigated, just like these CIA and other people always instigating other countries trying to tear them apart based on behalf of keeping the superpower, America, the superpower, which they always want to be looked at as the greatest for whatever reason. I don't know. When everything they have comes from everywhere else, and all the people that built that country comes from everywhere else. I don't know what it is about these powers that be, these people, because they're not really no powers either. Yes, maybe they think they are, but they're not really, they're just men. They're getting ready to die and leave everything behind, just like other men do. I think men just went crazy along the way and jealous, egotistic, and because they're not giving their people what Muammar Gaddafi was giving his country, they were jealous of him, and they have had him up and had him in their hearts and carried belly for him for the longest time, which is called bad mind, political bad mind. These countries have been bad-minded against other countries, using them. They want to get slaves out of these countries. They want to take these people's natural resources and steal everything from under them, especially Africa. We know that everything that these people have in the Europes and all their riches and wealth came from Africa. So whenever we have any African leader rising up to make any changes, there's always going to be a threat to, as you heard it yourself. I don't have to repeat it. It was said in the front part of this video. And even Dr. Umar Johnson came up and said his piece, and you hear what he had to say. It's pretty much a threat to the people that exist. You know, the people that's running this system, this evil system, egotistic, materialistic, selfish system that exists right now. It's under threat a couple times in the past, and that's the reason why they always take out these people. That's the main reason why they murder these people, defame them and label them as this and that. You have no proof of these people being evil and doing all the stuff they say. They just say it because they control the media. At the very same time, these are the same people that bomb other countries consistently. They bomb this man's house back to back to back. Did you hear? Yeah, all you gotta do is look at the information. They bomb his homes back to back every night. How do you feel? How would you feel living in your country or living wherever you live, knowing that they bombed your house back to back to back, right? Because of your leadership or whatever they don't believe in. But it's wickedness. It's evil. What if somebody came to, your country and your prime minister, your governor, your president, and bombed their place back to back to back, in their country? You see how quick they would destroy everybody. So you see what we're dealing with is tyranny, and everybody is sleeping under this tyranny. And I think that tyranny is going on in America. It's been going on, and I think it goes on under a smiling face, under a guise, kind of like a snake smiling while he bites. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what the politics represents in most of these countries, even Jamaica right now. I think that's what politics represents. It represents a snake that's smiling in your face but ready to bite you at any given moment. There's no love for the people. It's all about materialistic grabs, wealth, and who could get wealthy under the new political leaders and the connections and the partners. Boule, boule, boule. All a bunch of freaking gathering for wealth. Meanwhile, they aim to take that wealth from the people and leave many starving and suffering, which is why poverty is increased. If you look around the world, poverty is constantly increased. And also note that after Gaddafi passed, after they got him set up and killed in 2011, check out Libya now. I won't even show no video here. All you gotta do is go look in Libya now. Anybody could pull up any video on YouTube and just pull up the information. Look into what is Libya like now since Gaddafi passed, since they took out Gaddafi. Since they murdered him, set him up on assassinated him, defamed him. Look at what Libya is now. Is it better now? No. Now it's pure madness. See, they broke this man's country apart so they could tear it apart. This is what these wicked people do. This is what they do. This is what I'm not here to try to, like I said, try to get anybody on my side. I speak from how I feel and from my guts. But I think these people didn't like to see the thriving of that country. They didn't like to see that country thriving. They wanted to tear it apart. They wanted to see it down. And because right now, riots, sex trafficking, slaves, that's what's going on in Libya now. That wasn't happening when Gaddafi was ruling over them. It wasn't. Until they instigated and brought that in and got him assassinated, that's right up until that time, all that craziness went down. Okay, so if you do the timeline, the research, and you see for yourself that they pretty much overthrow him so they could overthrow the country. They didn't like the country being so civil and getting so much I mean, it was respectful of humanity. That was a humanitarian country, period. At some point, you really look at it, you see that it was one of the best countries to live in. People, so much gift of life, the blessing, free electricity, free school. That's the type of stuff you got to give your people so they could flourish. You know, that's nurturing politics, right? That's real right there. Whatever they were doing it right. Muammar Gaddafi was doing it right, and I think he got hated for it, for doing it the right way, because these people don't like right. If you look in their countries, they're all wrong, twisted, pure terrorist activity. These government people in America and Europe, they commit terrorism on their own people. So it's crazy for us to see these things happen and then look at the judgment that they cast on others, point the finger at others like they're the worst, when really, you know, it's the devil pointing the finger. You know what I mean? It's like the one in the wrong pointing the finger the most. It's crazy. But this is the observation that I've gotten from this, from here, and also from people that live in the country. That man has been terrible since Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated. People, subscribe, like, share. Have a blessed day and look forward to more. Check it. No schooling.